नमस्कार, रसोई के रहस्य के इस फेस्टिवल्स ऑफ इंडिया में आपका फिर से स्वागत है। अब हम पहुंच रहे हैं सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट इंडियन फेस्टिवल्स का। मतलब इट्स रियली अ सीजन ऑफ मेनी फेस्टिवल्स एंड आई थिंक वी reached the peak of this year's festivals with a whole lot of them bunched together. It's time for Dussehra, the most beautiful and revered festival that is celebrated in so many different ways across India, across its land and people. We are going to celebrate Dussehra in 4 different regions with different guests who are going to share with us their experiences and their lives, where that particular festival is concerned. We begin with the south and with Andhra Pradesh. My guest today celebrating Dussehra with us is Sita Srinivas from Visakhapatnam. Sita is a storyteller friend and somebody who I know does wonderful things with stories and a whole lot of work with children. So without further ado, let's meet Sita Srinivas. Hi Sita, welcome to Rasoi ke Rahasya.
Hi Payal, thank you so much for having me here. And yes, so this is, for me the festivities have begun.
Yes. I'm sure it all begins here. I mean, we're all calling it in and we're beginning with all the, dhum dhamaka and noise. It has to start.
Exactly.
So tell us who's Sita and what does Sita do apart from beautiful storytelling and beautiful puppetry?
Thank you. Basically, as you've introduced me, yes, I'm a storyteller. Been telling stories for more than 14 years. And I was a time storyteller in a school here in Visakhapatnam. And that's where, this thing has begun with children and enjoying with them. And what I'm today is because of the energy what I get from them. Apart from that, yes, I do storytelling in different platforms. I go to libraries, I do my storytelling in schools, and I conduct workshops. So this is what I do precisely.
Wonderful. I think life is so much richer with stories, both for the one who's receiving it and for the one who's sharing it. I think there's nothing more beautiful than stories. And I think it's a known fact that people remember so many little details better when they're in the form of a story rather than, simply reading a textbook.
Right. Yes. True.
So now it's time for Dussehra. And the festivities, like we said, have begun. So I know that Andhra and Telangana at one time were one very large and very happy state, but now we're 2 states and still as happy and still doing our own things. So Andhra Pradesh, Dussehra is important, yes. So how does the region celebrate Dussehra? What is, important, and what is Dussehra to you personally and as a region?
Okay. Actually, as you know, I belong to Andhra Pradesh. I'm a Telugu. But as you said, culturally, how does it, mean to me? So I was brought up in Madhya Pradesh. Then Madhya Pradesh, now it is Chhattisgarh because I was brought up in twin cities, Bhilai and Durg, which is now currently Chhattisgarh state. Yeah. So culturally, it is, I had the best of both the states actually. When I was young, we would, go to Ramlila Maidan. In those days, there were cycle rickshaws and all. There were no autos or, this thing. Yeah. So we would go there and then, sit and watch Ramayana being performed by the stage artists. And there used to be a small mela where we would, play all sorts of games like throwing the rings and the target and all. And then at the end, on the 10th day, actually, so there would be a huge effigy of Ravana. I mean, now we call it as Ravan and his brother Kumbhakarna and his son Meghnad. Ravan Satyanath. These effigies used to be there, all very 12 foot to 15 feet. They're that long, and opposite there would be a stage and where these drama artists would be standing, and they would be, doing Hey Ram and all those kind of stuff. And then they would shoot an arrow at the given point of. It used to have a rocket in that, and that could go and hit the effigy. Yeah. And we all would be, clapping and Jai Shri Ram, and then suddenly somebody would start singing bhajan, and we kids would sit and watch. Acha, ek gir gaya, dusra bhi, sar gir gaya, teesra gir gaya. So we would just not take away our sight from, that head, and then we would count, and then at the end, the pedas and the laddus would be distributed. Correct. So this was my first, this thing of Dussehra. But Payal, one particular year it changed. We visited my grandma, who also lived in Visakhapatnam, maternal grandmother, whom I used to call Ammamma. So we visited her during Dasara vacations. And what I found here was totally different. Like, there was no Ram Leela Maidan, and also I would just go on asking Mama, what is this? There is nothing here. She said, wait, Sita, wait. There's something for you. And then just a couple of days, before Dussehra, as you know, the first day of Dussehra, then she started pulling out old trunks and everything. I was wondering, what is this happening? And then she said, and then she was laying benches and all, because I was I have never seen this. Then she said, this is, we are arranging for Bommalu Koluvu. I said, what? Koluvu. And then that's how she, it was a huge mansion. We had a huge mansion, and one particular big room was dedicated for it. And then 9 steps, the benches were. Oh
boy, really?
Yeah, really. Because as my maternal grandparents, they were a joint family, so huge, 5 uncles and aunts and all the kids and all. And then she would bring out all the panchi. Panchi means dhotis of my grandpa. Right. And she would give white, dhoti with all nice border, cotton one, and she would pin it up nicely. She did that. And then she brought out the first idol which she pulled out from this thing was a beautiful Saraswati Idol made of mud. And she placed it on the first step, and then slowly she pulled out everything. And I observed that the first 2 steps were dedicated to all these gods and deities, mud thing. And slowly she started pulling out, and she had a huge collection of mud idols of, we had police station, we had hospital, and then each, stepwise she would arrange. All the 9 steps were just, were laid very beautifully with all kinds of birds, animals. So she had a kind of, a section. Okay, in this section only the birds will be there. This section only the animals will be there. So like that she would arrange. The best part would be the bottom, the sides of the benches on the floor. She would recreate, she would choose a theme. And that would be recreated. So it would be either like, it would, one year it was the Simhachalam temple, which is a famous deity here. Yes. Visakhapatnam. So she would create that, with putting drums and, kind of cloth and giving it a feel of a mountain. And then there she would make a temple and this sort of things. And she would make steps on that small thing. And that was my first introduction to Bommalu Koluvu.
How amazing is that? I've been to a few, living here, and friends who've had their own Bommalu Koluvus. That's how I know about it as well. And it is amazing. The dedication and the interest with which this whole activity is carried out is just beyond compare.
Correct.
I have friends who change it every day, in the sense like like you're explaining on the side, the jhakis and the things like that change every day. The theme changes every day for 9 days. It's so fabulous.
Wow. So then from that year onwards, it was decided that every Dasara vacation we would visit Visakhapatnam.
Wonderful.
So as I mentioned, every year the theme would be different. One year, because we have a Bay of Bengal here. So one year it would be just beach side. The next year it would be Tirupati. Like she would create the scenes, and sometimes it would be, just a beautiful garden with lots of flowers. She would, put some coriander seeds and then small plants coming up. Then she would bring in some flowers and all this kind of stuff. So that was really amazing. And her, as you said,
that is the true grandmother's pitara. Totally, all the magic coming out of the pitara with the grandmother. I think there was a reason why it was called the grandmother's pitara, Nani ka pitara and Dadi ka pitara and all that.
True. And you know what? She was very good at making dolls from the, remaining cloths. You can call it old rag.
Yeah, some of them do it. Oh, even husk and things like that. I've seen, the nariyal ka husk and the nariyal ka shell and things like that. So creative.
Yeah, she would do it with palm leaves. She would tear them into pieces, and then she would make, always she would make a family. Like, this is Papa, this is this is Nana, this is Appa, and these are the kids. So she would make them, and then she would drape it with a sari or, something like that.
Oh,
and we used to wear, langa and all, no? Langa and so she would make it for that. And that then one year, very innocently, I just placed one of the the rag doll which she made onto this Koluvu. And from that year she said, why not, let's have this also. And every year she would make a new doll with the remain, and because it is a Koluvu and so she wouldn't be using old rags. She would be cutting the remaining blouse pieces or some of the cloths remaining from the dresses, and she would make it. And that's how beautiful it would be. And
so what was the meaning of the word Koluvu? I mean, for our listeners who perhaps don't know, a Bommalu Koluvu is translation.
Koluvu means actually a collection of dolls arranged it in a very nice order. So Koluvu is basically where a group, a collection of dolls are kept in a place. Traditionally, it should be made of mud. But later on, as days passed by, and then it took place of wooden toys as well. So these were the things I'm talking about, 70s, 80s,
yes.
The year.
Yes.
So
but that's how it was. It is from the earth. It's eventually from the earth.
Correct. Exactly.
So this happens right from the start. So like we all know that Dasara is the 10th day. It's the culmination of the 9 days after Navaratri. So this starts right from the beginning, the first day itself.
Yes. It starts from the first day. That is Asvijamasam Padhyami, the first day. Actually, we keep arranging it 2 days prior to that. But on the Asvijamasam, the first day on the Padhyami, she would, then light the oil lamps, put a big muggu. We call it muggu. Yes, some people call it as kolam or rangoli with the rice flour. And we all kids would sit. And then she would start a small kind of a prayer. And that is the opening of, Bommalu Koluvu. And every day she would, they make some kind of a sweet and she would put it as naivedyam, and evening all the kids would come. Apart from that, she would invite all the ladies for the Koluvu, and my aunts and all would give them as tambulam, 3 pan leaves with supari and haldi and kumkum and some fruits. Yeah. And for the kids, she would, if actually initially it was only sweets as prasadam she would give, or buy some pencils and all. But later on, when she started making small rag dolls, and she would give each child who has come there. So all the 9 days, something or the other would be given as so-called return gift to the kids.
And for the ladies, I remember there used to always also be, some of them I remember would have a little basket, or there'd be a little steel plate or katori with a blouse piece also on it and things like that, with the haldi kumkum and all. So just such wonderfully warm kind of things. And it was open to community. It wasn't as if it was only, people from the family or people from a particular walk of life. I think everybody was welcome and everybody came. Unifying things, such beautifully unifying things. So were there any other specific things that happened? The Koluvu, of course, is the biggest, I think, happening of it. And I think a lot of communities in the south do it. I've heard of the Konkanis also, some Konkani friends of mine also, who say that they also have the Koluvu.
Actually, for this, I would like to mention, in those days, because Vizag was, Visakhapatnam is called known as Vizag. Vizag was a little laid back, and most of us, especially my mama, we all belong to agrarian community. So, a lot of kids would come, this is something which I want to mention here. In those days, there were very few schools, and most of them would be in government schools, and some of them would be in hostel, government run hostel.
Right.
So what I noticed was, during Dasara or just a couple of days before Dasara, these kids would divide themselves into group and go into different lanes of the colony, and they would, come early in the morning and they would sing this particular song, which I would like to, they would just sing Ayyavari chaalu, aedu Varahalu, Pillavallaki chaalu, pappu bellalu, Dasara vachitimi, misalu padakandi. It means that, we have come, they would come to collect from each household something or the other. They would come and say that please give something for our teachers. So they would, my granny, all the ladies, they would either give them rice or, it depends on whatever is there in the house, coconut or those kind of dal and all pulses. And they would say, this is for so cutely they would sing, this is for our teachers, but for us, you can just give us, pappu undalu, laddus made of groundnuts and all. We are very, we are okay with the small things. So that's how they would sing, and don't get, and I feel that this led to the Dasara Mamalu, Remember, people come and ask for Dasara Mamalu. Mamalu means they just want some kind of cash or something. So I feel there's a connect to this, which has led to that time. It was, purely for the teachers, and it was a genuine purpose. But now that, at our doorstep,
of course, things have changed, and even the kids don't want it anymore. They want totally different things today. So, but that's what, like you said, the sentiment basically was sharing. The sentiment was sharing, from every home wants to give, because festivals is the joy of giving begins here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even for the one who's handing it out, there's so much joy in the thought of, sharing your bounty with somebody else. And for the ones receiving, the sentiment is about passing it along, and I think also to honor, people who take care of them and educate them or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So, everything, I strongly feel that, every part of our country, they have these small things which are very, very special to that particular region.
Absolutely.
So, but unfortunately, now we don't get these, songs from the children and all. But sort of it, you try. There's a big song, but I could only recollect this 4 lines.
Some things just stand out. No, but then the beauty of it is, see, people like you are now with this entire work of storytelling is picking up once again. We have storytellers, we have wonderful storytellers, people who are trying to revive this beautiful art form of, the oral narrative in the form of, I remember growing up, the Burra Kathas and the, the Hari Kathas and things like that we used to see on Doordarshan. It's all, those were traditional things done in temples and things like that. But now look at all of you. You're speaking a language that the children understand. You're taking them back into, times and stories otherwise which they would probably never hear of.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think there's a revival happening.
Yes. And here, in the north, we had all this Ram Leela and all this, Ram Leela Maidan mein jaake Ravan ko. But here also in Andhra, at that time, we had, some corners of the city, we would have, the idols of Durga Ma being placed, especially when Galibari and all those places. But then there, Payal, my granny used to take me there. And there, these some of the artists, like folk artists, they would, grease themselves with paints and they would dress like tiger and all that, and then they would do that dance, Oh my God, it was really, really amazing. I really miss that,
It doesn't happen anymore? These things don't happen anymore?
No. Now that, no. At least, no. I have not seen them again. Bommalu Koluvu and all still we are saying. But that particular dance and all, as you said, in villages and all, Burakata, Harikata, and they revived these things. But no, I didn't get a chance. But I wish and I hope that I, at least in some remote corner of this state, I do get a chance to see these dances.
I'm sure it will. I mean, see, because it's a quest now for all of us. The reason, for instance, for this, this podcast is just that, to be able to reach out to people who actually have celebrated something and to, do things with them. And so many more people know about what actually happens. So I think all of us in our own little ways are contributing to ensure that at least the generations going forward will have something to refer to.
Right.
So what else happens in terms of food? Now, kitchens are open and it's time for for really a good lot of happy cooking and things like that. What is special?
Oh, my favorite. Every day we would have different kind, because Andhra rice eating community. So we would have different kinds of, one day it would be pulihara, other day it would be kobbarannam, that is coconut rice. Then, we would be having simple pulagam, that is khichdi. So these all would be one main item, but the sweets were something which I would always, wait and look forward to. Aaj kya banega? One of my favorite and only favorite I can say is Chandrakantalu. Have you heard Payal about it?
No.
Oh, okay. So this particular sweet is made of moong dal. Do you want me to share the recipe?
Yes. While we're talking about it, why not? Let's not, Niki or Pooch. Why should we stop?
What it was, she would take a glass of moong dal. She would soak it for 3-4 hours. And the same glass, the quantity, she would take sugar. Then it would be half a glass of coconut, grated tender coconut, white coconut, not the dried coconut, few cardamoms, powdered cardamom, and then same glass of water. This is what is very simple recipe. She would soak it for 3 to 4 hours and she would grind it in that. Those days she would do it in that, rubbed roll.
Yes. The stone, the patthar wala thing.
Patthar wala, yeah. So my mama would grind it into a paste, not very fine paste, a coarse paste. And then what she would do is, in that she would mix the coconut, the grated coconut, and she would add the crushed cardamom powder in that. And on a heavy bottom pan, she would take that 1 glass, the same, I said the measurement is all same, so same glass of water. She would heat it up and then she would put the sugar in that and she would stir it so that it would dissolve. And once, the water comes to a little not to a boiling point, but just it starts to heat up and then the sugar is dissolved, she would add this moong dal paste to continuously stir it, add a little bit of ghee in that. So that, it doesn't stick to the sides and she would keep on stirring it. And very soon it would get cooked and it starts, leaving the sides of the pan. She would switch off and then she would wait for the room temperature, take a plate, grease it with the ghee and put this, cooked moong dal paste onto that mixture and she would pat it and after a while she would cut it in a diamond shape. The Mysore Pak, something like that. Then after that, she would deep fry these diamond pieces. And that is something, oh my God.
I'm just trying to think of it being fried. So as in deep fried.
Yeah. Like Burilu has a cover in, Andhra or we often make, South Indians, we make Burilu. So it has a, rice flour covering, but this doesn't require anything. Just take directly and like how you make your pakodas or, the puri. You just fry it and just wait for it to be golden in color. Don't make it brown.
Right.
And oh my God, that is...
I can imagine. I've never heard of something like this. Oh God, why hasn't someone given it to me until now? I'll have to start asking my friends now.
Yeah.
What did you say it was called?
Chandrakantalu.
Chandrakantam.
Kantalu, Chandrakantalu, because more than one, so
yes,
it is Chandrakantalu.
Plural. Yes, plural. Very. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. And anything with moong dal as it is when it's cooked like this is absolutely fabulous.
Yeah. And the aroma when it's getting cooked in that pan with the sugar,
and the aroma,
water.
Yes, I can only imagine the aroma must be so fantastic. This
and
sounds
that's
really interesting now.
The beauty of this, pile is not that, it should be perfect and, in diamond shape. It used to be, little, what do I say, not very perfect, but it had its own,
symmetry, not necessarily symmetrical.
Right.
It's like we used to say as children. I used to be very fascinated with the term Wonka Tinker.
Yes.
Little Wonka Tinker, it has to.
Yes. And even the patting, she wouldn't do it like, for us, like we will roll it nicely. She wouldn't do it. She would just leave it like that. And really it would be, and it's, and that from the pretty corners, it gets deep fried, and that crispy thing when it comes into your mouth is so tasty.
It is. I can very imagine. So this recipe you're going to share with us, so I can leave it in the description for our listeners to enjoy as well.
Definitely. I will.
Any song and dance apart from, and food, you're saying mainly all the rice items were cooked, right?
Yeah, rice, and then regular, like which we cook for, like paisam or this, but every day for sure in the evening Aarti would be there for this Bommalu Koluvu. Okay, like we used to pray to the Koluvu. That is where I said the Saraswati Idol, and then we used to have Ganesha and all those small idols. And evening she would give Aarti and some kind of candies, in those days.
Sugar prasad,
But morning after her prayer, she would come and one of the sweet or something, she would just offer it to God, and that would be distributed in the evening for the people who would come, and also serve during lunch. So this 9 days she would make 9 different varieties of prasadam. It could be katti pongal. We call it like we used to just call it as chakkar pongal, katti pongal.
Yes.
Right, all those kind of things. But and then the Saraswati Puja. Oh my God, that would be a big affair, like just near the Koluvu. Then again, she would, make another place where she would put the Saraswati Idol, and we all kids would bring books and keep them. And I would also bring my books because vacation time. Homework and all would be there. So we would be doing that Saraswati Puja and, all that kind of things. Then that is how. But on the 10th day...
New clothes?
New clothes, of course. Dasara, yes, on the 10th day, we would wear new clothes. And it would be a typical, traditional langa and jacket.
Yes.
It would be either patpu or cotton. We would have lots of kinds of designs and, patterns on it. And on the 10th, after the 10th day, that on the 10th day evening, after all this, puja is done, prasadam is distributed. In the night, symbolically, she would, move one or two, dolls and from that Koluvu, and one or two she would lay them down,
to
rest and wait for the next year.
Oh, so beautiful. There's such symbolism, such little things, but it's so joyous, it sounds really.
And every year she would, to her collection, she would buy 1 or 2 new dolls.
Yes.
These all we would get in Jatara, during Dasara we would have Jatara. Jatara means a small kind of a mela where people, they would come and, the potters and all these, they would make different kind of figurines that they would do. And while this continued and I got married, then I had my daughter, the older one, and I started, luckily it was also followed in my in-laws house. So we would have every year this Bommalu Koluvu. But then now, we are transferred from 70s, 80s to 2000.
Yes.
So, the dolls now, they took place into the wooden, and as I told you, different kinds of this thing. And metal, not metal exactly, but that panchloha and all this kind of.
But it's okay. I think it's about moving with time now.
Correct. And yes, exactly. Moving with time, the themes also change. We would have underwater world also.
Yes, of course. Then man going to the moon. I've seen those also. I've seen man going to the moon. I've seen Edmund Hillary on top of Mount Everest. I've seen all of those as well. So wonderful. But see, but we're current and we like to keep with the times.
Right. So this is all about Koluvu, Bommalu Koluvu.
So wonderful. I'm looking forward to actually being able to witness one. Hopefully it'll happen soon enough. And with the beginning, I think, onset of the festival, I'd like to wish everyone a very, very happy Navaratri and a very prosperous Dussehra, because it's almost there. We're almost there. So Sita, thank you so much for sharing these beautiful memories with us. I think I've learned so much more and hold them very closely. So thank you so much for spending this time with us.
My pleasure, Payal. Because of this, I could revisit all those
your grandmoms. Yes, I can imagine.
Thank you very much.
So we'll meet again, and until another Dussehra, another celebrations. रसोई के रहस्य का ये दशहरे का एपिसोड यहाँ तक ही, और भी आएंगे एपिसोड्स दशहरे के. सुनते रहिए और जुड़े रहिए हमारे साथ रसोई के रहस्य पर.